We got the call late afternoon that there was a hiker trapped under a large boulder. I was given to understand he'd been there for 2 days. I thought we almost lost him.
If you can change the way that you see the world, you can literally change the world. But to me, it's not really about climbing mountains. It's basically, it's about reaching your full potential. Things are changing faster and faster all the time, and we can sit back and get all freaked out and go, whoa, I don't really like change. I like my world to stay the same. Thanks very much. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. Right? We've got to be able to step back and say, okay, things are changing. What good can come out of this? It's all well and good to recognise your weaknesses, but it's also nice to recognise that you might have some strengths. Every time someone hands us a choice, and it probably happens a couple of hundred, couple of thousand times a day when you stop and think about it, but every choice, every decision we make decides where we're going to go. Recognising a situation for what it is, and whether it contains an obstacle or an opportunity. It's not what you see, it's how you see. How you see is what you get. How you see is what determines your results. Because how you see determines your reality. Geert tells me of his plan to climb to the island's tallest peak.
How long do you reckon it would take to climb? I think a day and a half.
And we haven't found that clearing. It's at this point, I hesitate to say that I thought we were lost. I think that's too strong a word. I like to say that we were geographically embarrassed. Let's put it that way. We both spend a lot of time outside. We'll just we'll stick up a rainfly here and we'll spend the night here and we'll keep going the next morning. Geert hops into his sleeping bag. I'm just about to hop into mine. And I think, hang on a minute, before I do this, I need to, well, you can't say use the washroom because we're outside. I need to take a leak. I've got two options. I can bash my way through the bush, or I can climb up a rock face, it's about 12 foot high, and get away from the creek that way.
Courage comes in all shapes and sizes. Warren, who was trapped under a 2,000-pound boulder and lost both of his legs and went on to climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
If I had the chance to go back and relive that moment and not have that boulder fall into my lap, I wouldn't change it. We as human beings, we've got this incredible capacity to want to survive. Let me tell you, we want to stick around.
See you soon.
I'd only met this guy the day before, but I don't think I've ever felt so lonely as I watched him walk away.
How long were you alone?
In total, 45 hours. People often would say to me after the accident, wow, I don't know how the hell you survived 2 days under that rock. And they follow that up with, I couldn't have done it. And my standard response has always been, well, that's interesting, what do you reckon you might have done? But I knew that as long as I focused on where I wanted to go, rather than each and every little obstacle that popped up, I knew I had to deal with them, but my focus was on absolutely where I wanted to go. It's our individual realities that create the realities that we see. So the next question I asked was, how high? And he says, pretty high, up above your knees. And at that point, I basically cried myself to sleep and just said, whatever. And the next afternoon, woke up to pretty much a whole new reality.
I guess you don't go hiking anymore.
No, that's not entirely true. Yeah. But I look back now and I realise that every single day, all of us make hundreds, or dozens, hundreds, maybe thousands of individual little decisions, and I tell you, make no mistake, every one of those heads you down a different path. Now, have I mentioned yet that I'm a restless kind of a guy? But he said, seriously, how can we call ourselves disabled when we can do everything that we want to do?
Jeez, that is astounding. Relax a bit.
I'm not that good at sitting back at relaxing. You know, I've always been fairly driven.
I was saying to Warren during the commercial break how astounding this is that you were saying that you believe people have a power beyond what they know.
Well, that's really what I've learned, is just that how infinitely more powerful each of us, how powerful we are you know, and how responsible we are for creating our reality has been one of the big lessons for me. You know, and it wasn't in my reality the same as it's not in most people's for a guy with no legs to climb to the top of Kilimanjaro. So I set out to create that reality.
To change that, to create your reality. And do you feel the same way? Yes. Really?
Yeah.
Well, this is inspirational to anybody who hears your story, so thank you. Thank you.
Thanks
for being allowed to tell it.
Thank you. To learn that lesson, like how important it is every choice that we make, how important it is. You don't have to spend a couple of days under a rock like I did. That's the good news. Right, I think the first part is just recognising it. Recognise how important it is to take control of our own reality. I want to share a little secret with you guys, but only if you promise that it won't leave this room. We good with that? Well, I don't know if I can trust you guys. Wow. Getting through life without legs has become, for me, not that big a deal. I'd almost go as far to say that it's almost got easy. Now, that may take some of you by surprise. I know it did me. But I've got to the point now where I've figured out how to deal with this, to the point where if I had to, let's put it this way, if I had to draw up a list for you of the top 10 hardest things for me to do on an everyday basis, not one of those top 10 things would have anything to do with having no legs. Not one. I'd probably go as far to say in the top 50 top challenges for me on an everyday basis, there is nothing in that top 50 that's got anything to do with having no legs. Now, it's become easy for me. It's not for everybody, obviously, but for me, because I've worked out systems and ways to do what I need to do. How did I get to that point? One word: perception. All right, perception is key. Perception's where the rubber hits the road. If we can't see where it is that we need to go, how much chance do you think we've got of getting there? Not much. Yeah, how a lot of people talk about what you see is what you get. Right? That, to me, that doesn't go far enough. Because I tell you what, when people saw me turn up at the beach that day, they just saw a guy with no legs. When they saw me turn up in the swimming pool to actually start swimming, they just saw a guy with no legs. It's not what you see, it's how you see. How you see is what you get. How you see is what determines your results. Because how you see determines your reality. All right, I've said it once, I'll say it again. If you can change the way that you see the world, you literally change the world. So I want you to remember, it's up to each and every one of you guys to create whatever reality it is that you want to create. Right? And to me, I sit up here now and I see you guys in a position to be part of creating an awesome reality with the company that's out to double its assets over the next 4 years. Right? You get to be part of that, which is huge. What an opportunity. Reckon there might be some obstacles pop up along the way? Oh yeah, you bet. But I want you to remember, when you come up against that wall, not if, but when, just remember, how you see is what you get. It's how you see that's going to determine your reality and whether you move forward or not. When you change the way you see the world, you literally can change the world. I want to thank you guys for having me this afternoon. It's been awesome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.